Getting the club in the slot halfway down is extremely elusive to most golfers out there. They simply don't get it anywhere close, and what this does is it greatly affects, number one, their power, the control of the club face. Especially most golfers will end up leaving the face open, causing that dreaded slice. And of course, it's very hard to rotate and control the low point, or where your divot is made, as we'd like to make the divot in front of the ball. So many people cast and end up scooping it, hitting behind it, thinning it with no power, no face control, and that's where we are. So right after this, I want to show you how you can get in the slot every time nearly automatically. If you can understand one basic principle, this is going to end up being real easy for you to do to improve. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I'd love to help you improve your golf swing this year. So what we're talking about today is just kind of a basic principle that you really got to know. You can incorporate this any way you need to into your swing, but it's just more of a universal truth of the difference between good golfers and bad golfers. So often what happens, we can't get the club into this shallow from the inside slot, or what some people might call on plane coming down into the ball. Again, it really disrupts power and accuracy. So let's look at this principle. If you were to either turn too flat, so that left shoulder's coming this way, a little too much in there around on the horizontal, and if you were to stand up as well, lose this initial hip flexion that you have, and that covers a lot of golfers right there. That's how a lot of people move off the ball. And if they don't move off the ball that way, they certainly they'll turn the shoulders flat, and then you'll see this pivot and we get this stand-up effect. So the body is going to have to govern the way that the shaft and the club moves, the head of the club moves through space. It's the only way you can strike the ball. So for example, if I were to stand up and turn flat this way, see a lot of that. Now, look, I'm on a collision course like a baseball now. If I were to try to swing on a shallow slot, I'd miss the ball. So something's gonna have to give. If I get here, I'm now gonna have to lift the arms into this over the top position and come down extremely vertically and outside in at this ball, just to make the club head be able to meet the turf at the correct depth, at least sweep some kind of turf. You're simply making the best out of a bad situation. Now, a better golfer might keep the posture to the top of the swing, but may turn too flat. I see this a lot in better golfers. It's turn too flat, club goes inside, or they try to save it by doing this, but it wants to go inside. They might be bending over enough, but now here we go with that thrust of the hips towards the ball, shifting the weight to right center field. And now that club looks like this. Again, this is gonna have to get really tall. And there that ball goes out hopelessly to right field in what you might describe as a block or a push. And the shaft gets very tall. Again, once I'm here, so not only is my pelvis in the way of a correct around the bend arcing of this club handle, but the shaft is also going to get very tall. You're going to end up in this position here. You see how that face is open. Now, if I want to make this go straight at all, so I'm too tall, my body is pushing to right field like this, I'm going to have to really roll the toe over to get that club face back online again. Of course, my contact still wasn't very good. I towed it and I chunked it, and that's another common error with somebody trying to self-correct this. So, got to remember this basic principle. If the body is moving too much this way, that's the tilt, you could call it the tilt of the shoulder wheel, and the amount of bow that you got. The more it goes this way, the more the club shaft and the club head and the hand path. So your hands moving the handle of the club, it getting pulled down into impact, the more vertical it has to be. Also, generally speaking. If you're standing up like this on your way into the ball, it also tends to restrict rotation. So you could think of a hula hoop swinging on too much of a vertical, and now turn it to right field 15 degrees. That's the hand path you're going to be on. So a lot of error potentially with the club face and lack of low point control there. And of course you can see that if the shoulders tilt correctly, you have a tilt-turn balance, and that hip flexion stays reasonable, then the club is going to come down much more in the slot low and work its way around low. So for example, I'll give you something you can try at home. Bend as much forward as you possibly can. And now all you have to do at home, whether in the grass or on the carpet, is try to make a sweeping divot in between your feet somewhere from here. Now look what happens to my swing. It gets incredibly horizontal, doesn't it? Also, if I were to add a little bit more tilt to the shoulders on the backswing, so rather than trying to turn the shoulders like a merry-go-round, if I were to add a little bit more tilt like this, so now I'm blending, you see I'm blending tilt and turn.
Why my swing looks so fluid is because I don't have an upright spine. My top of the spine stays still in the bottom swings. Everybody has a wrong idea of what the hips do. They try to turn their hips. You turn your hips, your head sways. My hips go, I tilt up and down and then turn. It's compound action.
Rather than the airplane just turning flat, turn that airplane up in the air at about 60 degrees. And now watch what happens to the plane automatically. Again, my goal would be, this will happen to you too on the very first swing, because you have self-preservation in mind. You want to hit the golf ball. You don't want to whiff. You might, but you don't want to whiff. So your brain will figure this out, especially at a slow speed, very quickly. So now if I were to add in, keep my bow, keep extra bow, just to show you, and add extra steepness here, you're going to see that not only is the club going to come in shallow and around me beautifully, but you're going to see a lot more rotation, better low point. I'm just going to do a little version here. So this will be more hip flexion. So let's look back at that one in slow-mo. You can see shoulders turn steeper. If anything, I maintained or even possibly increased my forward hip flexion bow. You know, Colin Morikawa reaches nearly 40 degrees there, which is a little overkill, but he's making sure he doesn't get stuck. His arm drops right in front of his pocket, just like you can see mine did. I didn't try to jam my elbow in front of the pocket there. The club shaft is coming in super duper on line with the target and working its way around to the left, but it's coming from shallow on the inside from that slot. It's very pretty looking halfway down. Looks very functional halfway down. You can look just like this. Again, if you can control the big stuff. Again, if you're tall and or your shoulders turn too flat, everything else is going to have to operate more like a Ferris wheel. The arms and the club shaft, the club head. And the more you bend and the more tilt you put into the shoulders, the more the arms and the club have to operate extremely low and around you. And that's really going to help your ball striking a lot. See, one more now. Adding a tilt and a bow. Here we go. And I'm just hitting these online all day. It's just so easy to control the face. Once that hand path is coming shallow enough, horizontal, has enough horizontal to this end of the stick, and it's working its way, right on around to the left, hitting it straight, making a divot in front, will become nearly automatic for you instantly when you can control what the torso and the axis of the shoulders are doing. All right, so remember that principle. If you're having any of these errors, you're over the top, you're slicing it, you're pushing it, you're blocking it, you're drop kicking it, all of these things, film yourself. You're gonna see that your swing might be operating too vertically, the arms and club. Now you know how to fix that. You can fix getting stuck if you're a better player with the same principles. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you'll like and subscribe. Head over to my website, hititlonger.com, for lots more articles and videos that are gonna help your game a lot. Also coming up, I wanna fix your swing for you. Email it to me, trim it to 3 seconds, send it to steve@hititlonger.com. And if it's good enough, or bad enough, I might feature it in a swing fix video coming up soon. And if I don't see you in the next video, I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.